And we are back now. A bit of a longer break than expected, but everything is on the way. We are ready to, well, just about ready anyway, to continue and get this show on the road. The EU group stage is now done. It has been completed, finito, and the playoffs will be happening next week, but for now, there is still one more region left to conquer. And we are here to conclude the NA group stage.
Exactly, everyone. We just concluded the European group stage. Exclamation mark be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the brackets yourselves. I believe the playoff bracket has been finalized and it is there on Liquipedia. Meanwhile, we are here with North America. A bit of a shorter broadcast. We only have 2 series with us today, as everyone can see on the screen. Boom, as I switch the scenes over. We have 2 series, mate.
But you know what? To make up for it, each series is going to be twice as long.
Oh no. It's possible, mate. It's possible. You were talking about it earlier, but we do not have any mirror matchups here in North America. Ooh, some fresh series and some fresh faces. And yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, especially since, at least for the first couple of series this year, and by the first couple, I mean the first on each stream, it's... I believe each and every one of them, well, aside from Astray versus Scarlet in the mainstream, each and every one of them, the rest of them anyway, are going to involve players who, their fates have not quite been decided yet. Obviously, over here, we are casting Epic versus Asuna, and Asuna has been confirmed not to be able to make it out of this group. However, Epic does still have a chance, and that's reliant a lot on whether or not he's able to beat his opponent here.
Exactly. Epic has a pretty good chance as well. He has to win his series, and I believe Future has to lose his series. So Epic does have to rely on someone else to be outperformed. But this is honestly pretty exciting because I feel like a lot of eyes have been on Epic recently because I don't know if you're aware of this, Yaku, I don't know if you remember, but Epic earlier in the DreamHack group stage actually took down Scarlet.
I remember.
Oh yeah.
That was a result that nobody was expecting. Of course, this is the group stage. There's bound to be a couple of upsets, but that certainly got a lot of people upset.
Oh,
oh that was the upset of upsets.
It was so hyped to see. It's the only series that Scarlet lost in the group stage, and it would be a shame if Epic worked so hard to win that series and not make it out of the groups.
Yeah, and that's why he's spinning a lot of hopes right now on, again, being able to win this series, and also for Namshar to pull off a little cheeky victory over Future. But that is that series, I believe, being covered on the C stream. I could be mistaken, but we'll get confirmation. Regardless, we're going to be kicking off our first series, second last series actually, with a pause coming up from Epic.
Yes, we were about to start, but not quite yet. It seems that maybe there's some latency, maybe there's some hotkey issues. Hopefully we can resolve them. Hopefully we can continue here, as it looks like settings, or specifically hotkeys, need to be reset. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait a little bit here for Epic to resolve those issues.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. It's just one of the quirks of the StarCraft client every now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
It does stuff. That's weird.
Hopefully everything is gonna be okay here. Meanwhile, as you were saying, Asuna hasn't had the best of times. He's not last in the group, and he has been able to take a series already. And again, he's a great player. He's been here in the DreamHack group stage before. So he's definitely good enough to take it to these players.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a shame that Asuna, literally the first series that he won was yesterday against BioIce. So yeah, that again just is a little bit of a shame. But regardless, you know, you want to be able to go out with a bit of a bang here. There's of course that monetary incentive, you know, just like in EU, series wins do count towards a little bit of an extra bounty here. And it's always something to look forward to, but regardless, he's going to be giving it us all.
Oh yeah, he is. We were speaking about it during the European group stage, but Asuna might not be able to make it out of group stage, but he can definitely stop people from making it out.
Yeah, he can be the hype killer.
Yeah, he can be the hype killer, so... Oh boy, we'll see if he can kill that hype. Meanwhile, again, make sure to check out some of the other streams. There are 3 other streams going on at the moment covering many other series. Definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth, you know, twitching it up and having multiple tabs open.
Yeah. If you can spare the bandwidth and or RAM.
True.
Anyway, we're going to be kicking off this series on Hardwire. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We got a red Protoss player coming out from the land of China, but currently residing in Canada. He, of course, is going to be representing Alpha X. He is Asuna.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the American Terran player, the Scarlet Slayer. Can he go all the way? Can he make it out of the group stage? Representing Storm Gaming, it is Epic.
And he is definitely very epic right now.
Getting cannon rush, let's go! Forge first from Asuna!
Yeah, the right response, I think, coming out from Epic, pulling a couple of SCVs. Not more than he needs to.
Oh my god.
He's still safe when it comes to the mining, but this... I don't want to call it a diversion, because, you know, Asuna was planning to go for the cannon rush initially, but it's great to see that he has a plan B. He has something to fall back on.
Exactly, mate. So again, as you were saying, the initial plan was the cannon rush, but Epic had a beautiful response here, pulling all the boys, getting a kill on this pylon as well. Meanwhile, Asuna steals the gas and is setting himself up for another proxy.
One that I'm sure Epic is not anticipating whatsoever. He did SCV scout across the map, but at the same time, this actually may or may not tell him too much. So the Forge was cancelled and replaced with a gateway. We'll see if that's enough of a tell for Epic to start thinking something is up.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be chilling here at the natural base, looking to try and delay the Nexus, and then eventually going back into the main to, again, confirm what the follow-up is. We do have a Cyber Core on the way. This proxy still has yet to be scouted, and I do appreciate this. Epic is getting his CC on the high ground.
And just being doubly sure. Again, scouting Asuna's base, that doesn't really tell him too much, but he doesn't trust him regardless. And he shouldn't, because, well, there's a proxy in his face.
Even throws down an NG Bay as well at the natural, going to be delaying that Nexus even further, delaying any kind of follow-up from Asuna as well. Asuna did chrono out a Zealot, but the Zealot is not going to be wasting any time on the NG Bay. It is going across the map.
Yeah, he's still going to make full use of that Zealot, and of course, if that CC was built on the low ground, his Zealot is in a fantastic position to kill the SCV and get a delay on that CC, but it's built on the high ground. So it shouldn't trouble Epic too much, if at all.
Yeah, exactly. So a great response here from Epic. Meanwhile, he's going into his second racks, into his factory. The wall is indeed a wall, and this Stalker, is actually in range.
But it's also in range of all of these Marines. Epic has not been neglecting his barracks production, and it's going to keep him very, very safe. So despite the slightly delayed CC, he's definitely going to be able to secure it, and he even was able to delay the expansion of Asuna for quite a bit, so...
Oh yeah, and I love that he's making a Reaper, by the way. The Reaper is going to be zooming across the map, and it's going to be able to scout and confirm whether or not there even is a natural base. We can see that there is, but again, Epic is still a little bit in the dark. So far, he has been able to defend, he has been able to get his CC up and running, and again, just to be safe, throws down a bunker.
Yeah, the last thing he wants to do is to overreact and be overly defensive. This is still keeping his options open as his Reaper goes back around across the map to confirm the intentions of Asuna.
Yeah, it is headed across said map. Again, the bunker is to make sure he doesn't die in case there was like a proxy Robo, Immortal, or even a Stargate or something like that. And yeah, I really appreciate how he's respecting this. Meanwhile, he gets across the map, confirms, there is a natural, and you have been probing.
I am here to deny your probe since you've sent all of your units across the map.
Oh, yeah, this is brutal. Thankfully, in a couple of seconds, there will be a Stalker. Oh my god, no! The Reaper gets surrounded!
And no KD8 charge to free itself, and regardless, it would have fallen to the Stalker. Meanwhile, with the Cyclone, Epic is able to push down and secure his natural base! Cyclone gets a lock on the Stalker, almost loses its life, but it does survive.
And just like that, Epic, he is able to secure the low ground. He expands, takes his natural base, somehow keeps the Cyclone alive. I'm shocked that that even happened. And Epic is looking so good here in the early game. Unfortunately, Asuna, his cannon rush into proxy didn't really do much. All it did was slow down the expansion by a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can get away with as a Terran player. Especially if you, like Epic, have not neglected your SCV count, been producing them the entire time, and yeah, he even has plenty of energy for mules if need be, but I'm sure he would like to save a scan just in case.
Yeah. As we see, the follow-up is going to be a Twilight Council. Quickly checking, I believe Epic did see this. He did, so he knows about the threat of a Dark Shrine. So there we go. Mr. being thrown down at the natural base just to make sure that if DTs do follow things up, he's ready for it.
And it leaves him free to mule as to his heart's content. He doesn't even need to. I mean, he has a very sizable worker lead on Asuna at the moment. But with these 3 mules, he's just skyrocketing even further ahead.
Exactly. Meanwhile, he goes across the map, confirms that a third is on the way, even gets a bit of a look on, chipping away at the shields of said third base. Asuna gonna try and hunt him down. He does have blink.
And he blinks down. Doesn't catch the Cyclone, however.
Stalker's a little bit too slow there, so Epic able to keep this alive. It isn't the biggest of deals. Cyclones kind of do fall off as the game goes on, but it's nice that he still has it. Could maybe find a use for it later on.
Yeah, you know, defending against a Warp Prism or something. If it was to come to his main base, that is, if he decides to utilize the Cyclone defensively, obviously, there's a chance that he can use it to snipe a key unit later down the line. All in all, just allows him to be a little bit annoying. Finally it gets dealt with.
Oh, and this is an unfortunate location for the third base. Does immediately get cancelled. I was going to bring this up earlier. Again, like, to throw down your third as the wall to your natural is odd, to say the least. Yeah.
But I guess he has run out a little bit of space in his main base. Actually, no, he hasn't. He rebuilt a third in his main base, so,
a much more reasonable location, punished for his greed, so at least Asuna was able to lay the third base by quite a bit, to be fair. It was like almost halfway done. So he does have that going for him. Meanwhile, we did see a scan across the map, confirming the gateway explosion, confirming that, it's not just Blink, saw that the Twilight Council was researching once again.
Yeah, he knows that Asuna is going for a bit of a swarm toss style. And he should be preparing against it. Yep, pretty much immediately he stops producing tanks and he starts producing Widow Mines.
Oh yeah, we've talked about it before, but when you're up against charge lots, tanks aren't really what you want. You need to get into Widow Mines. You need to, again, you need as much splash damage as possible here with your army, especially if you want to be aggressive. And yeah, we'll see how Asuna can get back into this, because he's been able to recover quite well. Doesn't really have much of an economic lead, unfortunately, which is typically something that a Protoss player has in a TVP.
Yeah, and behind all of this, Epic has not skipped a single beat. He has one thing on his mind right now, and that is to deny at least the fourth and the third base of Asuna. And honestly, looking at the army supplies right now, Light, I don't think he's going to have too much trouble. This does get scouted by Asuna, but what does he have in position to defend?
He does recall his Stalkers all the way back home. That's great and all. He has charge lots, but again, we were talking about it. He doesn't have any tech units. He doesn't have a Colossus, Disruptors, Storm, Archons. It's just pure gateway army.
Honestly, this is a pretty good position for Asuna to fight in, but I'm not convinced he has the numbers on his side. Widow Mines get decent connections on top of a lot of the chargelets. The tanks finally get dealt with, but the bio has been untouched throughout this entire interaction. Widow Mines will borrow again, and that will zone out a couple of units.
Oh god, Widow Mine shots will be going off on a handful of Zealots, but again, the bio army is still going uncontested. We have another warp into Zealots, but only 4 Zealots, mate. That's gonna do nothing.
Yeah, battery overcharge was popped, but on a very vulnerable looking shield battery. Once again, bio is untouched. GG, Epic takes game number 1, and he didn't even need to kill a base. Asuna just saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, again, great scouting by Epic, great responses as well, dealing with all the early game aggression from Asuna, even getting some economic damage done across the map afterwards. And because of how the early game went, he was looking so strong getting into the mid game. Sure, his third was delayed, sure, it was cancelled, but he was working on that 2-base push, and Asuna just didn't really have enough to defend at all.
Yeah, he himself was able to delay the economy of Asuna for quite some time, and on top of that, it's just like you said, like Epic wasn't hinging his game or his strategy on expanding early on. He wanted to go for that 2-base push. That was the game plan from the very start, and getting the natural base delayed by a little bit, not the biggest of deals when you're building up for a timing like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if when Asuna saw that he cancelled the third, he probably felt confident enough to take his fourth, right? He's like, oh, you know, I'm slowing down his economy. Clearly, he wants to expand and take a third base and take things slow. Maybe I can get away with some greed here. Unfortunately, it just kind of forced Epic's hand. I don't know if it's forced his hand or if it's something that he was going to go for anyway. Regardless, he had an insane army and Asuna just wasn't ready.
Not one bit. Yeah, going for that fourth at that position was questionable, to say the least, because I think that Epic was planning to go for a 2-base push regardless. It's just that, you know, like you said, after his third base got delayed for so long, he recognized, I really need to do damage here.
And he did.
Yeah, he didn't go for the fourth base or anything like that. He went straight for the throat. He killed the army, and yeah, from there he just had way too much momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, he takes a 1-0 lead in this series. And now we go on into game number 2. Are we going to see another Forge first?
I think we might see a proxy. But from which player? That's what we're gonna find out. Well, if it happens at all. As we load into Kaliningrad, where in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we of course have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Canada, representing China. He is going to be representing Alpha X, Old Mate Sushi. I hope you're awake at 4 a.m. watching your boy. He is Asuna.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Kaliningrad ESL, we have the American Terran player himself, representing Storm Gaming, leading this series 1-0. It is Epic.
Already, I'm a little disappointed, like, that we don't see any forges, any proxy pylons, or any proxy Raxus coming out.
I know. These players, do they not realize they're in the NA region? I mean, Asuna realized. In game 1, Asuna was all about NA. But yeah, here a much more conservative opener, you know, to have just a gateway being thrown down, no forge whatsoever. The probe is trying to be as annoying as possible, but was unable to get a single kill.
Yeah. Barely slows down the barracks as well. But it's something to keep Epic a little bit occupied here. You know, makes sure it keeps him on his toes a little bit.
Does. And interestingly, Asuna is pumping out his Zealot. Part of me is feeling, you know, he will have the opportunity to cancel it if he sees he can't do any damage. What's important, he just scouts that the CC is in the main base on the high ground. So with that scouting information, he should, cancel the Zealot.
Yeah, and that was actually a brilliant scout coming out from Asuna as well. You know, other than scouting the natural base being built in the high ground, he confirms that is a marine, that is a reactor. You're planning to push into me very, very soon. Or very, very early, I should say.
Yeah, gas is being saved here. We do not see a Reaper first. This means that Epic isn't really concerned with scouting across the map. I say isn't really concerned, but he did SCV scout at least, so he is playing it safe. There are some Terran players that don't even do this. They just go Marine and they just chill at home and they don't even care. But Epic respects his opponent. True. Epic respects his opponent enough, is well aware of the potential for shenanigans, so he wants to make sure that there is a natural base, that Asuna isn't all-inning.
And he isn't. But that doesn't mean that Asuna won't be aggressive, especially with that Twilight Council Blink Stalkers, great defensive unit, also a really good harassment unit.
Oh yeah, yeah, they can be amazing as... Ooh, we see a relatively fast Robo here. Mate, are we seeing a Dark Shrine?
We'll definitely see. My eyes are glued on that production tab right now. I'm curious to see whether or not Asuna is going to research anything from that Twilight Council. Meanwhile, he's being as annoying as possible with his adepts. He's keeping the attention of Epic over here.
There it is.
Finish up, and the Dark Shrine gets thrown down.
There we go. So again, because of the early Robo, as the Shade even trying to be a little bit annoying, trying to delay that CC. But because of the Robo, it can only mean one thing. It can only mean Dark Shrines. With the War Prism, with DTs, you can slip in behind that wall, get into the main base, and deal a lot of damage. But this is a pretty big commitment. Oh my god, with a follow-up of Charge.
Yeah. He's looking to sneak in a couple of DTs and then warp in Zealots to be even more of a nuisance. This Cyclone is gonna have to do a lot to catch that Warp Prism.
Yeah, and I have to say, without Blink, I'm feeling like Asuna wants to go for a 2-base all-in. Right now, we see, there we go, an additional gateway on the way. 3 gates in total, a 4th done already. And, oh boy, we'll see if he can even pull this off, because Epic is chasing these reps all the way across the map. That's a lot of gates.
that is a lot of gates.
Yeah.
More importantly, that's a lot of gates that Epic has 0 eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks this is going to be a pretty standard game. He's pushing out with his army right now just to see if he can apply some pressure on Asuna. He has no wall back at home. He is defenseless, but he is getting a Viking now. But this is Belingrat we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, he has to force some warp-ins here at home. So far, he's going to be able to take out a Zealot. We do see a backup pylon here. Overcharge is going to be available as well. But across the map, DTs are going to be warped in momentarily. Oh, but the Cybercore...
Yeah, it's looking very vulnerable and will get taken out. This, however, does not prevent the warping in of Chargelets or DTs. It's a little bit unfortunate here for Epic. He is able to take out a couple of gateways, so, well, almost able to.
Ooh,
DT get what's warped in.
We need a scan, Puppy. We need a scan, but the scan is at home instead. It has to be. He does protect his mineral line. Didn't lose very many workers at all, but more DTs are on the way.
Yeah, Warp Prism trying to get taken out here, or rather the Cyclone is trying to take out the Warp Prism, but it was not meant to be. We do have missile turrets now for Epic, but that's still a lot of Zealots providing plenty of buffer.
Oh my god, exactly. Meanwhile, with the lock-on, can Epic, he does not get the Warp Prism. 13 SCVs have already gone down. The more DTs are going to rock up here at the Natural Waste, there's nothing to defend.
Nothing in that bunker. Finally, the Warp Prism gets taken care of. And that's definitely step 1 in the defense for Epic, but he's losing so many SCVs.
He really is. But with the help of these Cyclones, he is holding on. He does have a worker deficit, but with the help of mules, which he can use because we have missile turrets up, and with the death of the Warp Prism, he survived.
Yeah, the worst is kind of over now for Epic, but we'll see if he's able to recover from this position. Asuna, I mean, he's all in. No third base in sight.
Exactly, no follow-up, there's no blink or anything like that. He rebuilds his War Prism. Interestingly, he's making a second War Prism, which I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional, but okay.
Look, he's not going to be making Immortals. Observers aren't going to be too useful for him right now. Might as well get a backup War Prism.
He knows he's going to lose it. It's fine, he'll have another one.
This way he doesn't have to focus on, you know, microing or controlling that Warp Prism. Who even wants to do that, right?
Meanwhile, Epic is going for a bit of a drop. I don't know if this is the wisest move. I mean, again, to be fair, he just doesn't know if there's a third base. He doesn't know if Asuna is going to try and transition out of this all-in. And meanwhile, here we go, double Warp Prism going into the main base. The Cyclone can get a lock-on on one. What about the other?
Not quite. And the entire load gets dropped right now. That's the other benefit of having double Warp Prism. You get double drop potential. The Marines are not in position to defend the front lines, but there is a healthy tank count.
There is a healthy tank count.
The SCVs did provide a decent buffer until they were evaporated.
Yeah, every single SCV went down in the main base. Here at the Natural, it looks like Epic is holding strong. The drop comes back home. Again, unfortunately, the drop was not available. Stim is on the way. Thankfully, that tech lab is still alive.
And it should remain alive. The Archons don't really have range on it. They are attacking the tanks right now. Zealots are very, very beefy, but the medevac is healing whatever it can. Another mass warp into Zealots comes in here, and that should be the killing blow.
Exactly. GG. Asuna will take game number 2 and tie up the series 1-1.
I told you the double warp prism would be handy.
It did, actually. It actually paid off for him.
That won him the game. If it was a single warp prism, he would have lost immediately.
You're not wrong,
but
mate.
because he was able to drop a double load, 2 Archons, a handful of Zealots, and get a warp in later on, despite one of the warp prisms being targeted now by the Cyclones, that was a game that honestly was closer than... was about as close as it could have been here for Epic.
And unfortunately, again, because Epic didn't go for a Reaper, he had very limited scouting of the main base of his opponent. He had no idea that there was a Dark Shrine. The DTs did so much damage. The follow-up charge are all in as well. Would the game have been different if Epic had kept that drop at home instead of going across the map? Maybe, if that bunker was filled up and if he had additional units to defend, it's possible. But at the same time, Asuna had so much momentum going. He had so many more warp-ins across the map. That was a brutal game to lose.
Yeah. Not just because of what happened in game, but also because dropping that single map complicates things even further when it comes to Epic's chances of advancing out of this group. Again, there are 4 players who are vying for only 2 spots remaining to advance to the next step. And, some of them, like Epic and Namshar here, are a little bit contingent on some of the other matches going favorably for them, but this definitely the first step for either of them to make it out of the group is to win 2-0.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think because of this loss, if Future wins 2-0 his series, then Future makes it through. Like the map score, it is, as you said, it is important.
Yeah, but we'll see if at the very least Epic is able to win this series and then maybe continue to have a chance. We're going to conclude this best of 3 on Blackburn, where in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player hailing from the land of America. He's going to be representing Storm Gaming. We have Epic.
What was that?
Mega kill.
Oh, God.
Finish him.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Blackburn ESL, we have the red Protoss player himself representing Alpha X, tying up the series 1-1. Can he take this entire series, his second series of the DreamHack NA group stage? It is Asuna.
Asuna. No, that doesn't work in that voice.
Yeah, oh god, that was brutal. Obviously we have to point it out, but Epic did single G that last game, and I don't blame him. Again, that was a rough game to lose.
I've been there.
But like again, like he's that much closer to not making it out of the groups, man. Asuna, he's bringing him down with him.
He's avenging Scarlet is what he's doing.
He is. So Asuna taking that win, already throwing a spanner in the works. Can he take the entire series? He's so close. What kind of cheese are we going to see here, Yaku?
Is he even going to cheese?
Well,
regardless, it should be reliant on the gold base, no matter what he goes for. I'm hoping the gold base comes into play for him.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Meanwhile, I love this from Epic. He opens up with a Reaper first. He is going to be scouting his opponent. He knows how important it is to scout a player like Asuna. And he's going to confirm the opener. Ooh, Asuna even throwing down the safety shield battery in the main.
May as well. And just in case Epic decides to go for Banshees, and he's going to have a bit of a tougher time.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the Adept is able to force the Reaper all the way back. Unfortunately, the Reaper has yet to scout the tech here from his opponent. Hasn't been able to go in yet, but maybe it can later on.
Yeah, I love this from Asuna. deliberately, well, he purposely waited for the Reaper to leave and made sure that his Adept had eyes on it before throwing down that Twilight Council.
Ooh.
The Adept commits to the shake, gets a full scout, and is even able to delay the that starport for so long.
Wow, even gets a kill on the SCV. Is locked into the main, so there is no way out, but well worth it here. Confirms the 1-1-1 opener. Doesn't have anything to worry about in regards to 3 racks.
Epic a little bit frazzled here, and I do not blame him whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. We'll see if he can get into the main base, because again, he's still in the Dark Roll. He knows it is going to be a Dark Shrine. There is a Reaper Cliff here into the main base, so he will be able to get in, sneak in, and he should get a full scout off.
Yeah, should anyway confirm that that is a Twilight Council. This is very good positioning of the buildings here from Asuna. Makes it a little bit more complicated. I'm not even sure if Epic was able to scout that. He didn't!
He didn't even scout the Twilight Council. I mean, to be fair, if it was a Stargate, then he would have seen an Oracle by now, so he knows it's not that. But, like, again, it's possible that it's like a Robo First into a fast Colossus. Like, there are other things that it could be. So, yeah, he's in the dark. Like, or even a Dark Shrine again.
Yeah. If he ends up playing more defensively, this is going to play so well into Asuna's hands.
It really will. Meanwhile, Epic has seen something, that is the 3rd base. So because he sees the 3rd, he knows, okay, it's not going to be a 2-base all-in. The likelihood of it being a Dark Shrine opener is now much lower. So he should be feeling a little bit more comfortable about this game as he goes for that Widowmine drop.
Yeah, Widowmine drop also providing a little bit of a follow-up scout. With a probe pull, it is a little bit too late. 9 probes will go down, and just like that, Epic has regained an advantage here.
Oh my god! Like, Asuna saw it coming. By the way, he was bringing his stalkers over. He was trying to focus down that medevac as fast as he could. But as you said, the pro pool was too late. Widowmine drop, well worth it, buddy.
Literally just a second too late here. Coming out from Asuna, and yeah, just like that, Epic once again building up to a very strong 2-base timing. This time with Marauders thrown into the mix. +1 is roughly halfway done. Stim is on the way. More axes are being thrown down to reinforce this eventual push coming out from Epic. And since we're on Blackburn, you gotta imagine this is gonna work out even better for him than it did on Heartwire.
Oh yeah, this push is at least going to hit the 3rd base. At best case scenario, it goes into the natural and ends the game. Meanwhile, we do see Blink Stalkers coming to the main base. Yo, the Raven! Oh, it's 1 shot away!
But it's still alive. It's still building up its energy, and it's still going to be useful for the eventual push later down the line, whether he needs to disable something or even throw down an anti-armor missile.
Yeah, exactly. God, that would have been such a huge pickoff if Asuna would have been able to get this Raven, but alas, it was not meant to be. Sold control there by Epic to pull it back, to keep it alive for the time being, and now it will be available for all those spells. Meanwhile, Asuna wants to turn the tables here, going for a War Prism.
Yes, 3 bases are just about saturated. He's even got his eyes on the gold base right now, so Asuna very much switching gears. He wants to be as aggressive with his harass as possible and slow down the push of Epic as much as possible.
Meanwhile, similarly to game number 1, Asuna is not taking his gases, he's not going into a robotics bay, he's not going into any splash damage, wants to go for that Swarm Toss Mass Gateway style.
It can definitely work out extremely well against a Terran player who has been building tanks, but Epic will not fall for that. Twice he has switched. He has focused quite a bit more on Widowmines, only getting the tanks for safety early on.
Oh yeah, Widowmines are on the way. What's a little bit dangerous is that the War Prism is sneaking into the main base, and Epic doesn't really have anything back at home to defend. He will have some reinforcements, I guess, but the Zealots are warped in.
Well, I guess we're in for a base trade.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, yeah, reinforcements will help out. We even have a couple of Widowmines here in the main base. We'll see if they get baited in. Oh my god, up!
Ooh, great connections here for Epic, but only on a handful of Zealots. Asuna has to make a choice to warp in back home or warp in across the map, and for now he is warping in back home.
Oh my
great
god.
disable on that Immortal will keep the tank alive for a while, and with that, you know, Epic will just get a couple more volleys off on the defenses of Asuna.
Mate.
Cleans up the Zealots in his main.
Yeah, and the Widowmine shots were absolutely insane. They actually went off in the Immortal as well, already at half HP. Can Epic keep on pushing forward? Meanwhile, the Zealots in the main base were cleaned up. The War Prism, though, is still alive.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Epic lost a lot of workers in while all of this is going on. He himself has not been able to get much economic damage done. And things are suddenly looking up for Asuna.
Yeah, Epic is pretty committed with this. Like, he needs to deal damage. Whether it's break through and kill the third base, he needs to kill workers, he needs to do something more than nothing.
Yeah, literally anything right now.
Oh, God.
It's better than what he's done. I thought he might be going for a bit of a Doom drop, but he does remain in position. It makes sense. He doesn't want to give up this foothold. They can get pretty easily on Blackburn. How much friendly fire did that Widowmine actually deal is what I want to know.
Oh, God, there was...
Epic's army is looking a lot smaller all of a sudden.
Yeah, there just isn't really much here. The Widowmines are getting picked up one after the other. Asuna feels comfortable enough to warp in across the map. He doesn't need it at home to defend. Not anymore. More SCVs are falling. SCVs that Epic cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, Epic has the army supply lead, but do not be deceived. A lot of that supply is in medevacs. He has 8 medevacs right now.
That's a lot of medevacs. Exactly, that's a lot of medevacs. Meanwhile, finally, the entire army comes back home. It will clean up, or it should clean up this War Prism. Oh my God, will it even?
War Prism is a little too fast. Yeah, it even gets recalled. Things were looking up for Epic in the initial push, but after Asuna was able to defend the first wave, things just have not been looking up for our Blue Terror player.
Exactly. He still has a pretty terrifying army. There's a lot of Marauders in here. Like, that. There's a lot of firepower. But stuck here at home, he's not really doing too much. With all these medevacs, I agree, a Doom Drop would have been amazing to try and go into the main base and try and avoid all the shield batteries and the overcharge here in between the natural and the third. The main base is pretty exposed, but alas, he was forced to turn around and go back home instead.
Yeah, that's the power of the Warp Prism. And it's back!
Ah! Oh my God. Yeah, with a massive warping of Zealots just at the same moment Epic was moving out across the map. So once again, his bases are exposed. Once again, the production is exposed.
Yeah, Epic has only one goal in mind right now, and that's to win the base trade. It's actually possible for him. Asuna doesn't have a Stargate, so and I'm still liking Epic's army quite a bit if he can land these Widowmine connections.
Yeah, exactly. The Widowmines are getting in position here. They're going to be going off on some Zealots, though. Again, a little bit of friendly fire, but he's getting on top of the Immortals. With the massive amount of Marauders he has, he can break through.
Yeah, the Zealots have just about been dealt with, and that was the scariest unit in Asuna's army right now for Epic. Medevacs really supporting a lot. Actually, really supporting the bio. They've got plenty of energy, so Epic can definitely stim quite a bit right now. Liberator got dealt with, though, and just like that, Asuna was able to survive with just enough army to start punishing Epic.
Yeah, meanwhile, he goes for the Doom Drop into the main base, but unfortunately, you said it before, there are just too many starports. Too many medevacs, I should say, and there's not enough on the ground right now. Only a handful of Marauders. He's going to be getting some economic damage, but his main base is looking so barren. He's lost so much of his production.
Yeah, it's a quote-unquote Doom Drop right now, as there are actually more medevacs than there are Marauders.
Yeah.
Oh. If only medevacs had a gun on them.
If only they had an auto attack.
Way to shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we do have a couple more Raxes being thrown down here at the third base. Looks like Epic's trying to set up some kind of production here. He lost his factories and his starports, by the way. He can only make men with gun.
Which is definitely the backbone and the heart and soul of any Bio-Terran army. But he needs a little bit more to be able to deal with these Stalkers, these Sentries, these everythings.
Just like that, every Marauder just got taken out. Looking at the units tab, we do have some Marines here back at home, but again, he still hasn't even dealt with these Zealots. Eventually, he will. Finally, they're going to get cleaned up. What's scary, though, is, again, he cannot rebuild those medevacs that he's been losing. He's going to have very limited healing potential. He doesn't have any Widowmines. He doesn't have any tanks. He was rebuilding his factory. Did he actually get it up? He did here at the gold.
And just like that, he's able to rebuild the starport as well. He can build even more medevacs.
Let's go. Oh, God. But, yeah, things are just not looking great here for Epic, especially because Asuna now has the gold.
Yeah, Epic's not dead, but he's dying.
He's not. Yeah, he's
It's
dying.
gonna be difficult for Asuna to kill him, but he doesn't have to right now. As you said, Asuna can just enjoy the mining happening at his gold base. He's teching up, he's getting thermal ants on these Colossus. There's nothing pressuring him to push into Epic right now.
He's getting +3.
Yeah.
Oh my god, +3 is on the way. Epic is going for a Ghost Academy. So shout out to Epic, he has not given up. Not yet. You know, he has 3 bases, he has triple SCV production, he has triple mule production as well to catch back up in the economy. Goes for a bit of a drop, but the army is ready and waiting.
Yeah, picks up and evacuates, loses one of his medevacs. There's enough bio in it as well. And you know, maybe if Epic can do stuff like this over and over and over again, you know, drop in different locations and just continuously pressure Asuna, there's a chance for him to turn this game around.
There definitely is, unfortunately.
Chance,
yeah, Asuna is not unrelenting here with his War Prism, with his Zealot Harass, and now the army is coming across map. We have a Colossus, we have Extended Thermal Lance in a couple of seconds as well. Disruptors are on the way. What do we have at home to defend for Epic? We have 30 Marines, 6 Marauders, and 1 Widowmine.
Yeah, unfortunately for Epic, that bunker is not really in position to deal with the main army. That was a kill and not a cancel. Epic converging on the Protoss army with everything he's got, but he gets force fielded out. These Colossus having a very fun time shredding through the Marines, the SCVs, and even the Marauders, because there's just that much army here and that much of a better upgrade lead for Asuna.
Exactly. The +2 is just too much. GG gets called, and Asuna takes the series 2-1.
Yeah. Not quite able to advance to the playoffs, but with that result, he is able to drag Epic down with him. Vengeance for Scarlet has been dealt by Asuna here, and honestly, it's a real shame that, you know, he was only really able to power up towards the end of the group stage here. There's also some scrappy fights, and you could definitely tell that Asuna was putting everything he had into them. If he was able to do this a little bit earlier in the group stage, then we might have had a very different conversation. You know,
Yeah.
he might have been actually the player who we had our eyes on to advance.
Exactly. It is a bit of a shame. We've talked about this in the past, but the way DreamHack is it is a bit of a marathon, right? Day after day after day after day. And it can be really difficult to get momentum. And Asuna started getting it. You said that he won his first series yesterday.
Yep.
And with that, he's
Roughly 24 hours ago.
Yeah, less than 24 hours ago. And now he's back here. He takes down Epic. But this is a little bit too little too late for Asuna to find his stride. But at least he's able to make a show of it, and at least he is able to impact the group.
Yeah. He's able to really show what he's capable of. He gets a little bit of a bounty here for winning an additional series in the group stage, and most importantly, he is able to kill the Epic hype train.
Feels bad, man. We're getting some results coming in here, and oh boy. It was so close. It was so close. Namshar is confirmed not out of the group with Epic Sloss. I think he is confirmed, and I do think that Future, if he wins his series, he's going to be making it out.
And it looks like Future is going to win his series, as he has the lead in that best of 3 against Namshar.
Yeah.
Trigger is confirmed out of advancing to the playoffs right now, so yeah, it's only Epic or Future who can advance from here, and 90% it's going to go to Future.
Yeah, there's going to be a weird scenario. If Future ends up losing to Namshar, like if Namshar brings it back 2-1 and wins,
reverse sweeps.
If he reverse sweeps, Future and Epic, I think, are going to be tied in series score. But then it's going to come down to map score. So people are going to have to do a little bit of math there to figure out who comes out on top if that happens.
I think Future, regardless, will just come up on top. Well, wait. Okay, so yeah, I think Future will have an even map score, and Epic will have a -1.
True.
Score, I believe.
Yeah, very true, very true. So yeah, I don't know if it's completely set in stone, but yeah.
We just got updated. Yeah, it's set in stone.
Yeah, there we go.
Future just had to win that one map.
Yep.
If Epic won the series and, won it 2-0, would have been a different scenario completely, but yeah, that's the timeline that we're in right now.
It is. So my condolences to Epic and his fans as well. It is a shame that the Scarlet Killer doesn't make it out of the groups, but Epic was able to show a really good performance, and I hope this isn't the last we see of Epic, Hey, taking down Scarlet, I doubt was a fluke. I'm sure his TVZ's insane, and hopefully we're able to see him in future DreamHacks.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of him showing off that TVZ. I believe we actually casted him against BioIce the other day.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a really good result, and it is a bit of a shame that, this season of DreamHack, not quite as many Zerg players as there used to be in the NA region. It is very much Protoss dominant, and with that, the TVZ could only take Epic thus far.
Yeah, I just realized the only series that Epic won was TVZ. He beat Scarlet, Namshar, and BioWise, all three of them, but every other series didn't quite go his way.
Yeah. And if we had a different if the qualifying bracket went a little bit differently,
True.
I feel like Epic would have been able to advance, but twas the reality of this season. M. Canning rallied the Protoss players through all of that, and you gotta be good at least 2 matchups here to in StarCraft 2.
Unfortunately. So yes, with that does conclude our first series of DreamHack North America, but we do have another series right around the corner.
Yeah, it is going to be the final series that we're going to be casting of the group stages, not just for North America, but overall, as there are only 4 series left. They will all be played at the same time on every stream, and that will conclude the group stage of DreamHack Masters Valencia. Our series is kind of inconsequential, but over in Group B, there is 1 spot remaining and 2 players vying for it.
Oh yeah, exactly, and one of the Ducklings is involved in that. So we'll dive into that later on. For the time being, we are going to be going on a hopefully short break. When we return, second series, Group B.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
But